Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live Wednesday edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Lockett here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we're going to go over the latest news and rumors on your Seattle Seahawks as we're talking about a potential trade involving DK Metcalf to the Los Angeles Chargers. Also, we will break down our surprise cut candidates. I got 7 players who could be on the chopping block in the coming weeks ahead. We'll also do a Q&A mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. We're here with you a little earlier than normal on this Wednesday. I got to get out of here once the show ends and go see my Kansas Jayhawks in action tonight, Rock Chalk, against TCU. So we figured we would get this show out of the way from our normal start time, but nonetheless, still want to bring you our Wednesday live show as we're now with you each and every Monday and Wednesday doing this live show in addition to our daily coverage here on the channel, and we appreciate you all being here. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling. We're coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas on this very cold, frigid Wednesday. Doing what I can to stay warm. I was not built for the cold elements, but we are trying to survive nonetheless as we march on here. Better than being in the Gulf right now with all the snow, and I know there's parts of the Midwest that got plenty of snow too. But hey, we're surviving, much like the NCAA tournament here in a couple of months. We're trying to survive and advance through winter at this point in time. Let us know where you're at. I got Ty Man the Buckeye already checking in the chat from Ohio. Get Christopher Ball in Lakewood, Washington. Good to see you, Christopher. I got Ben in Seattle, Washington. Good to see you, Ben. Let us know where you are watching from. We'll shout you out as we get this show going here on this Wednesday afternoon. A lot of talk already about the DK trade discussion. Hey, don't be mad at me. I'm just the messenger here, all right? There was an NFL coach that said it was going to happen. We'll talk more about it coming up later. I got Boog in Temple, Texas. Is that Booger McFarland? I got Jerry in Joplin, Missouri. We had this discussion the other day. I would say Joplin is Missouri, not Missouri. There's certain parts of Missouri that are Missouri. Joplin qualifies as Missouri. Got Vanessa in Austin. Got Steve in Seattle. Charles is in Wichita Falls. Robert is in Sun City, Arizona. Chad in Omaha. Nicholas in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Got Mark in Arlington, Washington. Appreciate y'all being here. The offensive coordinator search continues on. Who will be the next OC for your Seattle Seahawks? There are several candidates out there. And I'll be honest, based on following this search, it doesn't seem like we're any close to a resolution of a hiring anytime soon. Maybe things change in the next couple of days, but at least for now, doesn't seem like we're close to making a hiring just yet. Who should be the next Seahawks offensive coordinator? Give me a name that comes to mind that you would like to see get that job. Weigh in and let us know in the chat. And let's see, who do we have here? Robert says, I think we could bring back more potential. He hasn't lived up to the potential. I think he's talking about DK Metcalf there. Who should be the next OC? Jay checking in from Guam. Tony checking in from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Ben's already getting mailbag questions in. Thank you. Nicholas, yes, thanks for that super chat yesterday, man. Vanessa says Fraley from the Detroit Lions. That's certainly a possibility. He's getting a second interview, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Although, he could end up just being the Detroit Lions OC after Ben Johnson ended up getting the Chicago Bears job. So who knows? He might just stay there. Ben says Doug Peterson from the Jags. I think that'd be a great idea. I'd love to see Doug Peterson. I don't know what his buyout situation is. He might have to sit out so he can collect those checks. But I'd like the idea, Doug EP. Christopher says, I really like Kubiak. That is Clint Kubiak, not his father. Boog says Clint Kubiak. Although Gary wouldn't be too bad either. He had some health issues. I don't know what he's necessarily doing, though. Let's see. Outcast says Lions OC O-line coach. That would be Fraley, just in case you did not know. Appreciate y'all for letting us know who should be the next Seahawks OC. Before we go any further in today's program, let's go ahead and tell you about our sponsors. We begin with Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered. The NFL playoffs in full swing right now with the AFC Championship coming up, the NFC Championship, got the big game in New Orleans. That's what I'm supposed to call it. And Game Time's got tickets for all of it, as well as tickets in the Seattle area, whether it's to see the Kraken or another event that's going on. I got to tell you, one of my favorite sports memories was a few years ago. I got to take my dad to an NFL playoff game, and he had a great time. We had a life's worth of memories at that game, and you can too with getting tickets on Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that is a deal you do not want to pass up on, folks. They also have their seat views. So you can get the visuals, see what that seat is like. You can customize your spot as well. And with Game Time, they have the lowest price guarantee. Otherwise, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Then you choose your seat, and just like that, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code ChatSports, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code CHATSPRTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seahawks Today. We're also sponsored by our friends at Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for the big game, where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. If you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players in any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey. Prize Picks has got a couple great deals right now they're offering. They will give you up to 1,000 times your money. And on top of that, if you play $5, they'll give you $50 to play for free. You don't even have to win to get the money. I'm looking ahead to this weekend's playoff action. I think Xavier Worthy is going to get at least one jet sweep play that gets him more than 3.5 rushing yards. I also got Josh Allen to have more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. You can play along with me and win big on Prize Picks at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks Today. Glad to have him on board here on today's show. All right. So you may be wondering, where is Big Tex? Where is Smitty? Well, we are pleased to welcome in for the very first time to Seattle Seahawks Today. Get used to seeing this guy. He's going to be around here quite a bit, working with us. One of our newest hires. You may be wondering, when I super chat, what does my money go to? Well, it gives us the opportunity to hire more people and bring you more content. And we now welcome in for the very first time, making his debut on Seahawks Today. Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Alper has entered the building. Brett Alper, welcome. You are muted. There we go. Try again, Alper. How about now? What a start we have here. Okay. Now.
See, it's sticky.
Can you hear him now?
There we go. Can we hear me? We need to fix these. We need to fix these.
Not a great start, to be honest.
Not a great. But I was saying,
welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
Brett Alper in the building. Let's try again. Everybody welcome Brett
There we
Alper.
go.
Brett Alper, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I came here about, I would say, a month and a half. I've been at Chat Sports. I used to be a sports reporter in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Now, the chat may not like this. I'm not a Seahawks fan.
Oh, breaking.
And
Big, if true.
I could put this on,
Uh-oh.
and it's a
TB12.
But no, I love DK Metcalf. We're going to talk about the trade. And there's one guy that we're also going to talk about later, and it's George Fant. I was a big fan of George Fant when he was at Western Kentucky. He came back. I've interviewed him a bunch of times because I worked in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So big fan of George Fant.
Okay. So you're already trying to make friends. That's a good start.
There we go.
If you would like a shout-out from one of our newest employees, Brett Alper, here is all you have to do. Over this next minute, I need everybody in the chat to spam S.
Spam that S.
And I want to set a chat rate record. I want to give a warm welcome to Brett Alper and show him how we do things here on Seahawks Today. Rena says you're going straight to jail. She has not forgiven you for the Super Bowl. Hey, it's not the Patriots' fault. It's Pete's fault for not running the ball with Marshawn Lynch. I don't hold that against you for that. I blame Pete more than anything. But if you would like a shout-out from Brett Alper and give him a warm introduction, go ahead and start spamming S. I want to see as many S's as we can over this next minute, and Alper's going to shout him out. Let's get the S's going. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, I see you, Robert Reed. Seahawks fan, Charles Merritt. MF 32. Robert Mena, Christopher Ball, what's good? Andy, come on. Raina Martin, let's go. Oh, we got a bunch of S's in here. Scott Swenson.
Let's get some new names.
A lot of new names here. It's kind of hard to keep up with this. Steve J says, just run the damn ball.
Hey, he's been a very loyal watcher to this program. That's been an ongoing theme here. That's what got Ryan Grubb fired.
I see you.
30 seconds in. Keep going.
Gogan, come on. Steve J, I see you again. Raw Hector, Nicholas Howard, Robert Mena. Come on, keep it going. I've already shouted out you, Raina. Steve J, Chad, Symbolista. Stephen, welcome.
Albur. Alor.
Hey, it's not the
Alper,
first time.
close
enough.
Close enough.
Kenny
5
Silver's
seconds.
in the chat. Kevin Dealey.
Martin says trade everyone.
Trade everybody. Well, we're going to get into
we'll have plenty of discussion about that. Appreciate y'all for doing that. All right, got 125 people in the building. Not bad for an early show on a Wednesday. I know it's still lunchtime on the West Coast. So appreciate y'all being here. I need to get to 50 likes to start today's show. If you would like us to get rolling, then go ahead and like the video. Rena's got the right idea. She says, like the video for the algorithm. Yes, that'll wake people up, alert people that we are here and that we are live at an earlier time today. We need all the help that we can get. Hit that like button. We're at 29 likes right now. When we get to 50, we will start today's show. When you like the video, type me in the chat. And we'll shout you out. Nicholas says, Alper, you are a Seahawks fan, right?
No, I'm not.
No. He is.
We can root for an NFC team. There's no problem with NFC teams here.
Yeah. He's a Patriots guy, but, we don't hold that against you because y'all aren't doing so hot right now.
We just hired Josh McDaniels.
Bring back Josh McDaniels. Yeah,
who was the offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
MFer
that was 10 years ago.
MFer says you're an undercover Seahawks fan.
I might be an undercovers.
Maybe we can change him. Maybe we can convince him. 6 more likes away from starting the show. Ben liked the video. Robert, Martin. We got Ben. Who else? I need 5 more. Type me when you like the video. I need 5 more, then we get this thing started. I see a super chat from Kyle. We haven't even got to the super chat menu yet. That's coming up next, I promise. 5 more, and then we can get going. 5 more likes, and then we can start today's show. Scott liked the video. Thank you, Scott. I need 5 more. 4 more. 4 more, then we can get this thing going. 4 more, and Charles, Ty Man the Buckeye. He's an OG. Good to see you, Ty Man. WM, Steve, MF, Richard. 2 more. Mark, 2 more, and then we can get going. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not going anywhere till we get 2 more likes. There we go. Over the top. Appreciate y'all. Mark and Ty Man making it happen. The first super chat of the day. Haven't even got to the menu yet. You don't even know what you're buying yet. I love it. Kyle James with a $5 super chat. Salute to you. Welcome, Kyle. Kyle says, Seahawks trade Metcalf. We could get draft picks and value defensive linemen, offensive linemen. We need a stud lineman. Kyle, I don't want to give away too much because I will share my thoughts in the upcoming segments. But I'll say this. There are pros. There are cons. I lean more towards keeping DK than I do trading him. But I would say this. In his entire time in Seattle, the odds of DK getting traded right now are as high as they've ever been before. I still think he's staying, and I still would not trade him. But I certainly think that's a possibility. Alper, what do you think about the idea? I know we're going to dive into it here in just a second. What do you think about the idea? Should Seattle trade DK?
I mean, you kind of have Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's become the number one receiver. We've seen that over the past couple of years, or past year.
Yeah.
But we talked about it earlier. You need two guys. Your second guy can't be Jake Bobo, especially if you want to go.
Especially if Tyler Lockett's gone.
And, yeah, if Tyler Lockett's gone, you have your solid tight end in Fant, but you need a guy on the other side of the field compared to Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
And is DK going to be that guy? I hope it is. But if they want to get rid of him, then you got to find a new guy.
Yeah, it's our poll question right now. Should the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? 69%. Nice. Percent of you say hell no, they should not trade DK Metcalf. 31% of you say hell yes, with 227 votes. Super chat menu today. If you want to be like Kyle and send us a super chat, I got two options for you. Very simple super chat menu today, folks. The Jello shots are back. They have made their return, folks. Every $10 super chat, we will take a Jello shot. Make the new guy take down some alcohol, folks. We got 144 people watching. Who is going to be the one? Who is going to be the first one on this show to make Alper consume some alcohol here? $20. He will do a Jello shot. I could do some Jello shots too. We can go back and forth. I don't want to leave here today without all of our Jello shots being taken care of. He's got 4. I got 4. We also have a beer bong as well. $20, and we could do some beer bongs. I got some Coolers Light. We got some Happy Dads. It may be Wednesday. It may be lunchtime on the West Coast. But that does not mean we can't have a good time. So who is going to be the one? 12s. You guys are very loyal. You're my people. I love y'all with all my heart. I want to see who is going to give Alper his friendly introduction to buy him his first shot ever on Seahawks Today. You will be remembered for a long time. Alper will forever appreciate you as the one that bought him his first shot of alcohol that he's ever consumed in his entire life. That's a lot. That's Seahawks Today. Yeah. If I didn't finish that, it would have been a lie, but you get the idea. Let's see. $10. That's all it is. $10. Dollar sign next to the chat box if you'd like to contribute and make that happen. While I wait to see who's going to be the one to give Alper his first shot, let's tell you what's coming up here on this edition of Seahawks Today. We're going to go over the latest news and rumors. We're talking about an NFL coach that told ESPN that DK Metcalf will get traded to the LA Chargers. We'll show you what this NFL coach said. We'll react to it coming up in just a bit. We're going to talk cut candidates. I have 7 players that are on the chopping block, and I will do my best, Judge Joe Brown, and give my verdict on if I would cut them or keep them. We'll examine those coming up in just a bit. Also, we will do a Q&A rumors mailbag as well. Go ahead and start getting your questions in now. Make life easier on our new guy, Alper, so he's not having to search for questions and all that. Just go ahead and start sending questions now. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, you get priority, and your questions get answered first on our mailbag that we will be bringing you coming up in our final segment in today's show. So that is what's ahead. A loaded show here as we're going up on a Wednesday here on Seahawks Today. Appreciate y'all being here with us. First segment coming up next as we'll begin with our news and rumors. and then we'll go to our cut candidates, and then we'll get to our Q&A mailbag to follow after that. I'm still waiting to see who's going to buy Alper his first Jello shot. Who's going to be the one? Who's going to be the one? It's just $10. I want to see. I'm going to start this segment, but when this segment ends, I'm going to be very disappointed if I don't see anybody buying Alper his first shot here on Seahawks Today. I'd be very disappointed if I have to wait after this first segment. When we get through this segment, I hope there's at least one that's willing to get Alper. There we go. Peter made it happen. Well, let's go to Peter real quick, and then we'll get to the segment here. Peter, I knew I could count on you. I knew I could count on Peter. You didn't make us have to wait. I was worried. I was worried I didn't want to have to wait. I wanted to give Alper a proper introduction to how we do things here on Seahawks Today. We will pull up that super chat here in just a moment. As Peter Carell says, go Hawks. Here it is. Here's the $10 super chat. Alper, there you go. Peter buying in your first shot. What do you have to say to Alper?
Shout out to you, Peter. And this one, I've had a couple of these.
Go take it up there.
All right, I'll go take it up on there.
Okay, everybody's going to get to see what Alper looks like in the flesh outside of the little box. His first ever shot here on Seahawks Today, courtesy of Peter. Everybody spam Peter. Show Peter some love.
Shout out to Peter. Shout out to Peter.
We got a blue Jello shot.
Blue one.
Blue for the Hawks.
Blue for the Hawks, and it's going to taste great.
There we go. There it is, folks. There's the first Jello shot. How's that? You love it?
Good. This is good.
There we go.
$10, we take another one.
We keep going. We'll keep doing them for every $10 super chat today. And you can choose. You want Alper to do it? You want me to do it? We'll keep sending $10 super chats. That's an old super chat. But appreciate Peter for doing that and making that happen there. All right. There it is. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Everybody spam Peter. Show Peter some love. Much appreciated. Thanks for sending that $10 super chat. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Get to our news and rumors as we're going to be talking about a DK Metcalf trade. I know some of you are like, oh, great. Really? Trading DK? Hey, I was not the one that asked an NFL head coach if DK was going to get traded and where he would end up. All right? We just report. All right? That's all it is. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. All right? PGZ, I see yours. We'll get to you after this segment. Stand by. Let me get through this segment. And then PGZ will take care of you with that next Jello shot. Without further ado, segment numero uno. As we're talking about DK Metcalf, could he end up with the LA Chargers? We'll explain more as this live edition of Seahawks Today on this Wednesday afternoon starts right now. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Could DK Metcalf end up in Los Angeles with the Chargers? We are going to show you what one NFL coach had to say, predicting that a trade to the City of Angels will happen this offseason, and we'll react to it coming up in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us here on today's program. All week long, we are doing a sub-battle with Chase Sr. and the 49ers report. Now, I know it's the offseason, but we love competition here on the channel. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. We always want to stick it to the Niners. We won more games than them. We won the most recent matchup, and we want to keep on winning throughout the offseason, folks. So I need you to subscribe. That way we can take down the 49ers report, but also so you can be a part of our daily coverage here. So we're bringing you news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day, live shows, not just once, but now twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays, in addition to our breaking news segments, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all in one place right here on your one-stop shop, your off-season headquarters for your Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and we'll get started with today's show. According to a new report from ESPN's Dan Graziano, he spoke to an NFL coach, a coordinator, and an honest one at that, so they didn't put their name on it, go figure, predicting that the Seahawks will trade DK Metcalf to the LA Chargers. What? Let's hear more from this anonymous NFL coordinator of why he thinks that's going to happen. The Seahawks can still get good value for him, and he could pair with Ladd McConkey for a good inside-out tandem. Justin Herbert to Metcalf would be scary. I think Los Angeles will be looking to help the quarterback in a big way. Now, I'll say this. When it comes to the LA Chargers, I do believe that they are going to be looking for receiver help. Justin Herbert, outside of Ladd McConkey, didn't have a ton of options to get the football to, and yet their offense was still pretty decent this past year in LA. I do think they are in the receiver market. But even with that said, when it comes to our guy, when you're coming for our guy, DK Metcalf here, Mike McDonald, as recently as this week, might I add you, made it clear that DK is not going anywhere, that he is a part of the long-term plans for this Seahawks team. So LA might want him. There's a lot of teams, I'm sure, that would love to have DK Metcalf. But I'm telling you right now, he ain't going anywhere, folks. More from Jeremy Fowler saying this with ESPN in regards to DK Metcalf in this situation. Metcalf is still in his prime at age 27 and is a challenge for opposing defensive coordinators. But Jackson Smith and Jigba received more targets than Metcalf among Seattle receivers this season, 8.1 to 7.2 targets per game. And Metcalf, a projected 2026 free agent, likely needs a new contract, which won't be cheap. Now, everybody's talking about JSN, the breakout year he had. 1,100 yards receiving. JSN was fantastic. But think about this. I think that people tend to forget that a big reason for JSN's success was the pressure that DK Metcalf was taking off of JSN. And I am of the belief, as is most people, that Tyler Lockett is not coming back because you don't want to take on a $30+ million cap hit. You move on from DK. Who the hell are you going to throw the football to? All of a sudden, JSN's got every team trying to lock him down, doing double teams and all that. I think it would be a disaster, potentially, if you break up this pairing of JSN and DK Metcalf. With that said, what could Seattle get in the trade market? This is what I think would be the best case scenario if Seattle were to trade DK to the LA Chargers. I think you're looking at getting the 55th pick and the 158th pick from the LA Chargers in the best possible circumstance. But we've seen the wide receiver trade market has kind of dwindled in recent years. If you would have traded DK about 2 or 3 years ago, you could have gotten a first-round pick and potentially more. That time has come and gone. That's part of the reason why I'm against trading DK is because you've already missed out on getting your best return on investment here. I think you're kind of stuck with DK, and he needs to be a part of your long-term future. Let's ask you, our pinned comment today, should the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? I'm going to give you 2 options here. You can type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. I'm typing hell no. I don't want to see DK go anywhere. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered, folks. And I got to tell you, I've made some great memories over the years going to NFL playoff games. Got to take my dad to a playoff game a few years ago. And whether you're trying to go to NFL playoff games or maybe it's something in Seattle like seeing the Kraken or another sporting event, concert, theater production, whatever it may be, Game Time has got you covered, folks. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's the deal you don't want to miss out on. They also have their customize your spot feature, and they have their seat views, so you can see what that seat is potentially like. It's real simple, folks. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not, and then boom, just like that, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time offers the lowest price guaranteed or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPRTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks Today. All right, let's move on now. Let's shift gears. And I want to break down the pros and the cons of a potential DK Metcalf trade. Let's start with the pros. Number one would be the extra draft capital that you could potentially pick up, and more picks could be very nice to have some young talent on rookie contracts. That'd be potentially a very good thing. Also, trading DK would open up about $10 million in cap space. And it's no secret, Seattle does not have a ton of money to spend at the moment. And they are searching the couch cushions for pennies right now to see if they can find every dollar they can to get through this offseason. Trading DK also would increase the targets for Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jake Bobo, and A.J. Barner. Smith-Njigba, of course, had a fantastic season this year. Jake Bobo got some work to do. A.J. Barner, not a bad rookie campaign himself. You'd get those young guys more involved in the offense. And then lastly, you would also get a good gauge of how good Geno Smith actually is. What is Geno Smith's playing level without having two top-flight receivers in JSN and in DK Metcalf potentially? How good is he? Well, obviously you still have JSN, but you get the idea here, especially if you're trying to figure out Geno's long-term prospects. This could be a good test for how good he potentially actually is. Now, let's go over the cons of a DK Metcalf trade. He's been very consistent. In his 6 years in the NFL, he has had 6 straight 900-yard receiving seasons. He has been the most reliable and dependable player on this Seahawks offense in that stretch. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler as recently as 2023 as well. Pro Bowler in 2020 and in 2023. He was also a second-team All-Pro selection in 2020 as well. So he's got a good track record there among some of the league's best. And you talk about changing up the offense if you don't have DK. He is the only deep passing threat that Seattle has. We've seen JSN has really been a middle-of-the-field possession receiver guy. They haven't really used him to stretch out things as far as that goes. And then we talk about being dependable. He has taken care of himself when it comes to the injury front. He has only missed 3 games in 6 total seasons in Seattle. For me, the cons outweigh the pros for me when it comes to trading DK Metcalf. I think it would be more bad than good to move on from DK. And on top of all of that, of everything I just told you, you don't have an obvious replacement if you move on from DK Metcalf. Now, in theory, you could use one of those draft picks and maybe find DK's replacement. I know that there's been a lot of rumblings about John Schneider being potentially interested in Deebo Samuel and all that, but for me, I just don't think it makes much sense that there's more bad than good of potentially moving on from DK as far as that goes. You look at the numbers for DK Metcalf. We mentioned the seasons that he had of 6 straight 900-yard receiving campaigns. He came just short of 1,000 this year. Had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in 2023 and in 2022. And he's been pretty good about getting in the red zone over the years. You go back to 2021, had 12 touchdowns in that campaign. And from a historical perspective, to put a little context on this, folks, how good has DK Metcalf been? Well, just how good is he? He's in some pretty decent company here, folks. DK is just one of 2 receivers in NFL history with at least 50 catches, 900 yards, and 5 touchdowns in each of his first 6 seasons. You know who the other one to do that was? A guy by the name of Randy Moss Ever heard of him? Yeah. Now, let's go into perspective of how he stacks up with the rest of the league, though, and what his actual value is. In 2022, DK was 7th in the league in receiving yards. That's the only season of his entire career where he's been ranked in the top 10 in receiving yards as far as that goes. And you compare that to the rest of his time. Let's go through the last 4 seasons for DK one by one here. As in 2021, DK was 27th in total receiving yards. 2022, he was 16th. 2023, he was 18th. And this past season, granted he did miss some games and all that, he was tied for 25th. So you could argue that maybe DK's not worth paying because he hasn't put up the numbers that maybe some of these other guys that are being paid the same money are potentially worth. He won't be cheap to keep. We know that. It would be expensive if you decide to keep DK Metcalf and give him that long-term extension. As of right now, today, Spotrac is projecting that DK is worth about 3 years, $76.5 million at this point in time. And a lot of people out there, a lot of the haters and the losers are saying that DK is overrated, that he's not worth that amount of money. So let's ask you, is DK overrated? I don't think so. I think he's pretty fairly rated. What say you? Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no, if you believe DK is overrated or not. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of the Seattle Seahawks Today. For the latest happenings on your favorite team all offseason long, subscribe now to the channel, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. All right. That is one down. 2 to go. Up next, we'll get to cut candidates. But let's ask you, is DK overrated? Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in the chat and let us know what you think. Jeff saying yes. Robert says no. Eric says no. Cash Money Killer says no. Get in the chat right now. Let us know if you believe DK is overrated or not. Y for yes, in for no. Chime in the comment section there and weigh in as far as that goes. All right, let's catch up on Super Chats here. As Alper rejoins me, we'll bring it back in just a moment. PGZ 206 says, second shot for Alper. Everybody spam PGZ. Let's show PGZ some love. Maybe you want to spam 206. Alper rejoins me right now. Alper, first off, you heard my whole case.
Yes.
I thought I was pretty fair. I went through the pros, went through the cons. Now that you've heard me make my case that he should stay, what do you think? Trade DK or keep him?
It helps to move on, and it's not going to be cheap to keep. When you're looking at with the future, being a Patriots fan, I know we have a ton of cap space. You guys need to get as much cap space as you can, and you can also find a guy in the draft. I know you're not going to be able to afford a guy like T. Higgins, but you can find someone that could maybe replace DK Metcalf.
So you lean towards trading him?
After hearing what you say, maybe. I would
Which
see
is
what's
interesting
available.
Because after all that, and maybe that's just a compliment to me of the fair case I presented. Trying to be a little, not be impartial here.
Yes.
I think keep him. You say based on the case I presented, which I actually wasn't trying to push people that direction, trade him. Let us know.
It's mainly the cap space. It's not going to be cheap to keep him.
Yeah.
And once his contract ends, he's going to want a new contract. And with what wide receivers are getting paid now, you can't afford them. So you can either get rid of him now and get the best possible capital that you can, or you let him walk in a couple years.
Yeah.
Your argument for keeping him makes him now want to trade.
Yes, apparently. So you got a jello shot for PGZ here.
Yes.
I love that this one specifically, he said for you. So PGZ was looking out.
Yep. And we have our super chat deals. $10 jello shots, $20 beer ball.
And I have some as well. I can take some jello shots here myself. We have plenty of these.
Here we go.
I don't want to leave today's show without finishing all of our jello shots. PGZ, Thanks for taking care of
Shout
my
out
guy
to you,
Alper
PGC.
here. Everybody show PGC some love. Who is going to buy the next Jello shot? You can choose. It's dealer's choice. Do you want the new guy Alper to take it, or do you want your fearless leader, yours truly, to take it? Weigh in, let us know.
You took 6 the other day.
I did take 6 the other day, and I felt great. I got 4 here. I'm hoping Alper takes more than me today, but
I've got 2.
We will do whatever the
2-0.
chat wants. Whatever the chat wants, the chat gets. $20 also do beer bongs as well on our Super Chat menu. Up next, my friends, we'll get to cut candidates. I got 7 players that we will talk about who Seattle could potentially say sayonara to this offseason. And then we'll get to a mailbag. Alper, I know you could certainly use some questions. Tell us, Alper. There's a test. How do people get involved in the mailbag, Alper? What can they do to help you out?
Well, you can do it very easy. Just go in the chat, go in the comments, write your comment, and then put hashtag Seahawks. You could put it in all caps. You could put it in all lowercase. You could capitalize that S. Just make sure you say hashtag Seahawks.
Or, what's option 2?
Super chat! And the super chats will take priority, of course.
Hey, there we go. He's learning.
I'm learning.
He's learning, folks. So make Alper's life and my life a lot easier. Because I need to get out of here in less than an hour. I got a basketball game to get to. So we need to get through this show. Don't make me wait on your questions. All right, go ahead and start sending those questions in. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Up next, cut candidates. 7 players who could be on the chopping block. We'll tell you who those individuals are as we continue here on this live edition of Seahawks Today on a Wednesday afternoon. Jonesy and Alper here with you. Appreciate y'all being here. Oh, James. Should we go to James first? Yeah. Let's go to James first, and then we'll get to our segment. James, you get the choice. I know you sent a 20. Do you want us to each do a Jello shot, or do you want me to take down a beer bong? It's up to you, James. Let me know real quick. And this is a good. He's got a good point. He brings up too. James, get back to me on that. Let me know what you want us to do. If you want a beer bong, or if you want us each to take a Jello shot, it's up to you. James with a $20 super chat writes in. Kane picks if DK is traded, then go after Bond in the draft. So I like Isaiah Bond. I think Isaiah Bond is a very good receiver, and I think that he's a good pro talent. The problem is with bringing in Isaiah Bond, his playing style is totally different than DK Metcalf. It's not just, Alper, about, if you move on from DK, but then you have to find somebody similar to be that vertical threat and stretch the field. Isaiah Bond's got some raw speed, but he's nowhere close to being the physical specimen that DK Metcalf is. I like Isaiah Bond, don't get me wrong, and you are going to have to draft a receiver even if you keep DK because you got to replace Tyler Lockett. But if you're looking for Isaiah Bond to replace DK, I don't think that's going to work.
I don't think it's going to work either. I mean, DK is one of a kind, and like you said, you got to get the deep ball going, and I don't know if Bond is that type of guy.
All right, James, he says do shots. All right, so one for each of us.
One for each.
We're
already going down.
My first one of the day. Here we go, folks. Everybody, show James some love. Spam James in the chat. Here we go.
There we go, James.
There we go. Thank you, James. Oh, that's tasty. That's the first one I've had of those red ones. Very good. Very good. James, thanks for getting us a little liquored up on this Wednesday afternoon. All right. If you want to be like James, you can send us a super chat. $10, we're taking shots. $20, we're doing beer bongs. Or you can choose. If you want to send a 20, you can make us both do it. James chose for each of us to do a shot. Up next, cut candidates. We'll go through our 7 players to watch that could be on the chopping block for Seattle. We'll tell you who those individuals are. Then we'll get to a mailbag file after that. Use hashtag Seahawks Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Let's get started right now with our surprise cut candidates here on Seahawks Today. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, I got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, 7 total surprise cut candidates to watch who could be on the chopping block for Seattle as they enter the offseason. We'll tell you who those individuals are. Here's a hint on one of them right there. We'll break those down for you, and I'll give my verdict on whether I would cut them or keep them in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for stopping by. I got a challenge out there for the 12s today. I want to know, can we set our likes record on a single video for the month of January? The most likes video we've had on a video this month is 863, which honestly isn't bad. But I know the 12s can do better than that. I want to get at least 1,000 likes on today's video. And if we get 1,000 likes on today's video, then I will bring you another mock draft in the coming weeks. Does that sound like a deal? I think that sounds like a deal. So go ahead and hit that like button. We'll get started with today's show. We are discussing 7 players who the Seahawks could potentially move on from. And before we kind of dive in, I want to kind of tell you how we're going about this today. We're going to show you each individual player in addition to their cap number, the cap savings if you were to move on from them, and then I'll give my verdict. According to Spotrac, the Seahawks are in debt right now. They're about $23.37 million over the cap. So with that said, whether you like it or not, there will be players that will be cut. It's not a matter of if someone will be cut. It's a matter of who will be cut. What we're talking about today, if the Seahawks were to cut every single player and maximize their potential money we're talking about, this could save them towards next year's salary cap nearly $78 million, which would be a game changer and provide some big financial flexibility, but you would be having to move on from some key players in the process as well. Let's begin with none other than Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett, he is a gem. He is one of a kind. One day his name is going to be in the Ring of Honor. I can't wait to see him raise the 12th man flag. He has done everything the right way. And I love Tyler Lockett with all my heart. He and I are both from the same hometown, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I always have a special place for Tyler Lockett, just like many of you 12s out there. But this is a business, folks. Tyler Lockett didn't have a great year this past year. His numbers dropped off quite a bit. He's not getting any younger either as he enters the back end of his career. And his cap hit, woo doggies, folks, nearly $31 million. Oh, God, that's a lot of money. If you were to move on from him, there would be a potential cap savings of $17 million. So, what's my verdict, folks? You got to cut him. You don't have a choice. You can't pay a guy that only had 600 yards last year in his 30s $30+ million. It just doesn't make any financial sense. This is a business. Look, it was tough last year when Seattle had to move on from Quandre Diggs. I hated it, but it had to be done. And I think this is the same case with Tyler Lockett here. And I know there's some of you saying maybe we'll be willing to take a pay cut potentially. I'm like, why would he do that? We mentioned the limitations there is on money for Seattle. There will be a contending team out there that will pay him more money than what he could make in Seattle. The example I've been given is he could go home to Kansas City, where his dad played, go chase a Super Bowl ring with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and company, and get to finish off his career where his dad played, following his dad's footsteps. I think that's much more likely than him coming back on a much reduced salary as far as that goes. Tyler, it's not personal. It's just business. You're out of here. Should the Seahawks cut Tyler Lockett? What do you guys think? We love him. We do. But I don't think you have a choice. Weigh in. Let us know. Type C for cut, K for keep. Get in that comment section, our pinned comment today, and chime in. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose two or more players at any given category, get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Prize Picks got a couple great deals they're offered right now, folks. They will give you the opportunity to win up to 1,000 times your money. And if you play $5, you can get $50 to spin for free. The big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for the big game where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. If you are correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. This week on Prize Picks, we got the Pro Football Conference Championship games going on, and I think Xavier Worthy is going to have at least more than 3.5 rushing yards. I think Andy's going to get him a jet sweep play at least once or twice. I'll go Josh Allen to have more than 1.5 passing touchdowns as well. You can play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks Today. Prize Picks, run your game. Next up, Dre'Mont Jones. He was the highest paid player on Seattle's defense this past season. There was a lot of excitement when the Hawks brought in Dre'Mont Jones from the Denver Broncos. Since then, there's been a lot of disappointment. His cap hit next year is not very cheap. Close to $26 million to be exact. And there's potentially two windows to cut Dre'Mont Jones. One is the pre-June 1, which would save you about $12 million. The other option is the post-June 1, which would save you close to $17 million. And you can also get creative in the cut situation. You can release somebody early and designate them as a post-June 1 cut and all that. For me, this is pretty simple. You got to cut Dre'Mont Jones. This has been a major disappointment of what he's done. I think that Dre'Mont Jones is one of the biggest mistakes of the John Schneider era. I've been very disappointed in what he's done. It's sad. I thought that he had some real talent here, but it's just basically been wasted. I think you have to move on from Dre'Mont Jones and count your losses and go from there. Up next on our list, we turn our attention to Uchenna Nwosu. Let's tell you about Uchenna Nwosu. Uchenna Nwosu came to Seattle just a few years ago. Wasn't too long ago. He led this team in sacks. But, as I tell you all the time, the best availability is availability, right? That's a play on words. You get the idea. And Uchenna Nwosu just simply hasn't been on the football field that much. He has struggled to stay healthy. His cap hit for next year is about $21.2 million. And his cap savings is broken down into two categories. You have the pre-June 1, which would be about $8.2 million. And then you have the post-June 1, which would be $14.7 million. So much like Dre'Mont Jones, you would save more if you decide to move on from him later. For me, this is pretty much the easiest decision of all of them. I'm cutting Dre'Mont Jones. I'm counting my losses. It sucks that it didn't work out the way that it should have. I think that he's got a lot of talent. I thought that after the first year, I gave him the benefit of the doubt because how bad the coaching was under Pete Carroll and Clint Hurt with that defense. But Mike McDonald, who's been the whisperer with these pass rushers, we saw his track record in Baltimore. He couldn't get much out of him either. I think you got to move on. If you had to pick one to cut, would you rather cut Dre'Mont Jones or Uchenna Nwosu? Type DJ for Dre'Mont Jones. Type UN for Uchenna Nwosu. Let us know in the comments section which one you rather cut. We are all over your Seattle Seahawks this offseason with the best Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else. We're bringing our daily news and rumors. We got live shows twice a week, every Monday and Wednesday, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day on the channel. And I want to make sure you're a part of it. Don't miss out. Don't miss a moment. of the latest happenings on your favorite team all off-season long. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. You'll be glad you did. Next up is Noah Fant. Noah Fant came to Seattle via the Russell Wilson trade a few years ago. Hit free agency last year. Seattle decided to bring him back. They paid him a lot of money in order to do so. And with Noah Fant, I was kind of the belief that, hey, it's not necessarily fair to judge him on the last couple of seasons because the Seahawks, under Pete Carroll, had a terrible track record when it came to tight ends. They wasted the position, and I thought that was bad coaching. But then this year, we heard Ryan Grubb wanted to use the tight end position. He got some pretty good use out of the rook in A.J. Barner, but there still wasn't a ton of results for Noah Fant. 48 catches, 500 yards, only got in the end zone one time this past season, which is just ridiculous. His cap hit for next year is about $13.4 million. If you cut him, you can save close to $9 million at 8.9 to be exact. I can find a tight end better than Noah Fant, whether it's in the draft or whether it's in free agency. And even if I have to pay more to get a better tight end, I'll do it. There's some tight ends I like in this draft, from Loveland at Michigan to Tyler Warren at Penn State. I will easily replace Noah Fant. I'm cutting him. I'm getting him out of here, folks. Next up, Rayshawn Jenkins. Rayshawn Jenkins, he had that big play against the Giants, the fumble recovery that he took all the way back to the house, had an injury, and then he got passed up in the depth chart by Kobe Bryant, who outplayed him. And from that point forward, it was pretty well written that Rayshawn Jenkins' future seemed to be over for Seattle there. His cap hit for next year close to $8 million. I expected more out of him than what Seattle was able to get. Just never really played to his full potential. You cut him, you save about $5.3 million. I think this one's an easy call too. I feel confident enough in what we saw in Kobe Bryant for him to be the starter next to Julian Love. That wasn't something that we said at this time a year ago because of the injury history with Kobe Bryant. But to me, I think you got to move on from Rayshawn Jenkins and save that money there. Who is a player Seahawks should cut? We got a few more names to get to. We want to hear from you guys. Weigh in, let us know who is a player that you think Seattle should ultimately move on from. Get in the comment section and let us know. Seattle traded for this guy this past season, Roy Robertson Harris, who ended 2024 with 2 sacks, 20 tackles, 4 TFLs. And Roy Robertson Harris, his money, you're looking at about $6.6 million he could be potentially owed. But what we saw from Roy Robertson Harris was that there was not really a role established. They couldn't really carve one out where he could make a meaningful impact on this team. So if you cut him, you're looking at saving everything. It's all off the books, $6.6 million to be exact. I think you could potentially bring him back on a cheaper contract if you want him back. I'm not paying him $6.6, especially if I can get some cheaper money. I am cutting Roy Robertson Harris there. So far, I have been a very tough judge. I've cut everybody at this point, but don't worry. There are individuals we will keep. Let's go to George Fant. George Fant, didn't see a whole lot of this past year as he got injured week 1, went to injured reserve, came back, got injured again. You get the idea. George Fant, a lot of excitement when Seattle brought him in last offseason, especially with the uncertainty with Abraham Lucas. You're looking at him being paid about $5.7 million next year. If you cut him, it would be about $3.8. I'll say this. As much as I liked what Abraham Lucas did when he got his job back, once he got healthy, I still don't know if it's a chronic issue or not with Abraham Lucas when it comes to his knee. I need a backup option to potentially hold things down. If, God forbid, something happens again to Abraham Lucas or even Charles Cross for that matter, I need all the depth I can on the offensive line. I am keeping George Fant. We're not letting him go anywhere. We'll pay him that $5.7 to stick around. $5.7 for a veteran swing tackle, I will take that. One more name to get to in a moment, but first, who's a player Seattle should keep? We've gone through several names. Now we want to know who you think should stick around. Weigh in the comment section and let us know who you think should get to stay in Seattle. Last on our list is Jason Myers. Jason Myers, he's been around Seattle for a moment now. He has earned the reputation as one of the better kickers in the NFL. He did miss 3 extra points this past year, which I don't think there's an excuse to be missing any extra points, but nonetheless, 26 of 30 from field goal range. Not bad. 59-yard long. For a kicker, though, he's a little pricey. $6.8 million to be exact is his cap number for next year. His pre-June 1 savings, if you were to cut him then, are $3.1 million. If you were to cut him post-June 1, you would save more money. It'd be about $5 million. It's kind of hard to find reliable kickers. And for the most part, there have been some peaks and valleys in Jason Myers' career. For the most part, he's been dependable. We'll forget about what happened in the preseason last year. I am going to keep Jason Myers, and I'm not going to let him leave. We will let him stay and cash in on that $7 million for this year. There you have it. We've gone through every player. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. Let's set that likes record. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. There we go. So let's go back to the Tyler Lockett question. Should the Seahawks cut Tyler Lockett? I was glancing over as I was in the middle of the segment, and I think I saw more C's for cut than K's for keep. I have convinced you all. You can't make these decisions based on emotions, all right? I mean, Alper, as he rejoins me right now, one of the things, I know Bill Belichick had, a bad ending in New England, but one of the things I give him credit for, Bill Belichick always rather move on from a player a year early than a year too late. And I think with Tyler Lockett, if you decide to keep him around and pay him $30 million, I think there's a pretty good chance you're going to regret it.
You could look at prime examples for the Patriots letting the guys go. Richard Seymour traded him away. Wes Welker, he knew Julian Edelman was coming in here and being that guy and got rid of Wes Welker. And when you got rid of him, everybody was like, what are you doing? He's a 100-catch-per-season guy. So Belichick, he always was like, I could see this guy declining. I know I can bring in someone younger that's going to have just as much production and cost a lot less.
Right. And I think the same can be said for Tyler Lockett. I think he's replaceable at this point in his career as far as that goes. We did have a super chat that came in from It's Yada. It was right as we began that segment.
Oh, yes.
So we'll pay this off for It's Yada. It's Yada. We didn't forget about you. We were just in the middle of the segment. So we'll take care of you. Did we pay off James May? I believe we did pay off James May. Yeah, we did. He was the Isaiah Bond question. Let's go to It's Yada with a $20 super chat. It's Yada, your choice. Do you want us to do a Jello shot each, or you want me to do a beer bong? It's up to you. Weigh in. Let us know in the chat. Your choice. But we'll throw up your super chat here in just a moment. Then we'll get to the mailbag. Y'all, I need your mailbag questions. I got to leave in 25 minutes.
Oh.
So I need you guys to go ahead and start getting those questions in. That way I can get out of here. Skedaddle. Here's It's Yada with a $20 super chat. Let's go, It's Yada. He says, John Schneider has always been the biggest problem. Most of his first-round draft picks have been flops, giving up all those picks for Adams, the safety that barely played the position, was beyond ridiculous. Alper, some people don't like it when I say this, but I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Oh, here we go.
I always look back at the Jamal Adams trade. That was the worst trade in Seahawks history. And it was, they've recovered from it to an extent.
Yes.
But at the time, that was a fireable offense, that trade.
You got no production from him.
None.
Whatsoever.
And he was a bad dude. Quit on his team. I'll never forgive him for walking out on the team in that Eagles game on Monday Night Football last season, not this past season, but the year before that. Jamal Adams might be my least favorite Seahawk of all time. Part of it has to do with what they gave up, but I think we owe. Let's do another Jello shot. You need another?
I'd do another.
I mean, do you need another over the or how's your
one
supply?
more.
You got one more. Do that last one, and then here we go. It's Yada. This is for you. Here we go.
There we go.
Oh, that's good.
We have another super chat
Another super chat coming in.
from James May.
James May writes in. Cut Dre'Mont, Nwosu, Noah, Geno Smith. Okay. Keep Myers and Lockett. Restructure him 2 years so he retires a Seahawk. James, with all due respect, I don't see Lockett taking a restructuring. Why would he take a pay cut? If someone else is willing to pay him more, at the end of his career, he should go get that bag. I don't see them cutting Geno either. Maybe they trade him potentially, but I still think that's a slim chance. But Dre and Wosu Noah, yeah, I think you're onto something there. James, thanks for $6 super chat. Adam Baum says thoughts on Tariq Woolen. We'll include this in the mailbag as well.
Yes.
I'll keep this brief because I want to go in the mail. I want to talk more in the mailbag about this. Alper can chime in on this by all means. Rick Woolen, I like a lot. I do, but he's been up and down. He's been inconsistent. I think this is a big year for him because he's trying to earn that long-term contract to potentially stick around. But I don't think you can move on from him because you're a little short-handed at corner. You got Rick, you got Devin Witherspoon, and then you got Josh Jobe. I mean, for all of you that want to move on from Rick, you do realize that he's next to Josh Jobe. Like, you got to replace Jobe first before you replace Rick. So, I don't think Rick's going anywhere, but I think he's got a lot to prove this year to keep his job.
I agree. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right here. A little bit of a down year compared to other seasons. I mean, from his rookie year, 63 total tackles, 6 interceptions.
He doesn't like to tackle.
And then in 2024, 46 total tackles, 3 interceptions.
Boskin says Jobe sucks. I think Jobe is fine for, like, they weren't expecting anything from him. He was a practice squad promotion. I think they did well for getting something out of him. I know Mike McDonald's a big fan, but I can live with that as my backup. I can't live with that as my starter. Somebody's got to replace Josh Jobe. You need a starting caliber corner in Josh Jobe's spot. But Adam thinks that. Dan the Man Miller with a $20 super chat. Dan, let's throw you up on screen, then we'll get to the mailbag here. What is the update on the OC search? If you mentioned it already, I just got on here. Hey, no worries, Dan. We came on early because I got to leave here in a little bit. The update, there is no update. Fraley got a second interview, but this is the slowest offensive coordinator search of all time. Maybe they're just trying to help us out, give us more content, and drag this thing along, but there is no update. I think, it's kind of wide open at this point in time. I don't know if there's necessarily a favorite. Kubiak, Fraley, kind of all up in the air. I wish I had more to tell you, Dan, but I just don't. This is the slowest offensive coordinator search I've ever seen. But nonetheless, I think we got enough questions for the mailbag.
We have plenty of questions for the mailbag.
Love it. Great job, guys. Great work. Oh, Dan, for the 20. Dan, let me know real quick. Beer bong, or do you want some Jello shots? Alper and I can each do a Jello shot, or we can do a beer bong. Let me know real quick, because I got to start this segment. We're going to make it happen fast. Bill says Tyler, he still has fire in him. Tyler Lockett, that is. Not me, apparently. Maybe he does, but he doesn't have $30 million worth of fire. Folks, listen to me closely, all right? When it comes to Tyler Lockett, stop thinking with your heart and think with your brain. And the brain says $30 million for Tyler Lockett does not make any sense whatsoever. All right? Dan says Jello shots. Dan says Jello shots. Here you go. And we will take care of all the Jello shots today. All right. Here we go, folks. For Dan the Man Miller. Dan the Man. There's only one Dan the Man. Dan, cheers to you. Here's a Jello shot. One from me, one from Al. You like the red one?
Like the blue one more.
Okay.
But the red one's still pretty good.
And mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. All the Jello shots are gone. There are more in the fridge if we need them, but we got to get going here. We got to get this segment so I can get out of here. Here we go, folks. Mailbag time. Feel free to send in more questions. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. Let's get this started, and then I got to get out of here. Final segment here on this live edition of Seahawks Today. Mailbag time begins right now. Things are getting very interesting for your Seattle Seahawks this offseason. We have plenty to discuss here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Before we go any further in today's show, I want to make sure not only that you are subscribed to the channel, but also you're part of the Noti Gang. Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on, and they're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel. If you're part of the Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comments section and hit that Noti bell so you're the first to know when we have our new videos, whether it's breaking news, maybe you want to be a part of a live show and send in questions for our next mailbag segment. Maybe you just want to be the first one to watch our videos on the channel. Whatever it may be. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications. Lock us in, and you'll be glad you did. All right, let's begin with Adam Baum with a $5 super chat. Thoughts on Riq Woolen? I know a lot of people want to trade Riq. I'm not on that boat. I would bring Riq back. I think this is a prove-it year for Riq Woolen. I expected more out of him. I was a little disappointed of what we saw from Riq Woolen this past season, but I haven't given up the faith on Riq Woolen yet. This is a make-or-break year for him when it comes to trying to get that long-term contract extension. But here's another reason why, Adam, that I'm in the camp of not trading Riq Woolen. You have a bigger problem next to him at the other outside corner spot. You got Devin at the nickel spot. You got Riq at the outside corner spot. Josh Jobe, I liked as a story of getting the practice squad promotion, and we weren't expecting anything from Josh Jobe at all. But with that said, Josh Jobe should be a backup corner. He cannot be your starting outside corner next year. That can't happen. You need to get somebody next to Riq. You got a bigger problem than Riq right now, and that's replacing Josh Jobe. Adam, thanks for the question. James with a $6 super chat writes in. Cut Dre, Nwosu, Noah, Gino, keep Myers, and Lockett. Restructure him 2 years so he retires as Seahawk. All right, let's go through these one by one because we got a lot of names here. Dre'Mont Jones, absolutely. Uchenna Nwosu, yes. Noah Fant, yes. Gino, no. I'm not cutting Gino. I'm not even trading Gino for that matter. He's going to be coming back. You don't have any better options at the quarterback position. As I said earlier in the week, Gino is year to year at this point. And for this upcoming season, you need Gino back. Yes, keep Jason Myers. Stop thinking with your heart. Think with your head here, folks. It doesn't make any sense to pay Tyler Lockett $30 million next year. And I don't see him wanting to take a pay cut either when someone else is going to be willing to pay him more money. I think Tyler Lockett's out of here. Thank you for that, James. Dan the Man Miller with a $20 super chat. What is the update on the OC search? If you mentioned it already, I just got here. Well, Dan, we're recording this on our live show on Wednesday. And as of Wednesday, there is not any updates. Who knows? Maybe by the time you're watching this, they may have hired somebody at this point in time. But this is the slowest offensive coordinator search of all time. They are being very patient about this. Seems like Fraley's a pretty decent candidate. Kubiak's a decent candidate. Several others here. I don't know who they're going to hire. I wish I had a better answer for you, but this search is wide open at this point. We'll see where it goes. Where's Big Tex? They call him Big Tex. Do you think the Seahawks will re-sign Ernest Jones? Yes. Yes, I do think they will re-sign Ernest Jones. It will not be cheap, but as was the situation with Leonard Williams, last offseason. When you made the trade for Leonard Williams at the deadline, you made a commitment at that point forward. No matter the cost, we've already committed. We have to bring him back because we've given up too much already. The same can be said about this Ernest Jones situation. There's no going back at this point. You already gave up a fourth-round pick. You already gave up Jerome Baker. You have to bring back Ernest Jones. And this defense was drastically different with Ernest Jones. And I don't want to go to bed at night with nightmares about what this Seahawks defense would be in 2025 without Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones, the numbers didn't even tell the full story with what he did. I mean, this guy was flying all over the field. He was doing everything that was asked of him. He was exactly what Mike McDonald was looking for in an inside linebacker, and I think he can be the leader of this defense for a very long time. I think they're going to find a way, and I think they very well might get a deal done even before free agency officially begins. I'm pretty confident there. Will the Seahawks re-sign Ernest Jones? I am going to give you two options here. You can either type Y for yes or in for no. Weigh in and let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered. The NFL playoffs are here. I know the Hawks aren't in it, but maybe you're thinking about going to the NFC Championship, the AFC Championship, or the big game. Game Time has got tickets for that. They also got tickets in the Seattle area to see the Kraken, whether it's other sporting events, concerts, theater productions. They got all of that, folks. I've made some great memories going to NFL playoff games. Took my dad to a playoff game a couple of years ago. He had a great time. You can make a lifetime's worth of memories by getting tickets with Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's a deal you don't want to pass up on. They have their customize your spot feature where you can find the best spot for you. They have their seat views. You can get that 3D effect. Here's all you got to do. Choose the event you want to go to. Price is listed. Choose your seat. Then from there, you're checking out. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. I mentioned earlier they got the lowest price guarantee. Well, they really mean that, folks, because if you find a better price elsewhere, Game Time will actually credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and in the description of today's video. Fan of Tyler Jones? Well, there's at least one. Is there any reason to keep Uchenna and Nwosu around? No, there's not. There's not any reason to keep Uchenna and Nwosu around here in 2025 and beyond. And the simplest reason is you can't rely on him. He can't stay healthy. And last time I checked, as you get older, it doesn't get better when it comes to health. Why am I supposed to sit here and magically believe that Uchenna Nwosu is going to take those painkiller shots or whatever he needs to do to stay on the football field when it hasn't happened? I think you have to move on from Uchenna Nwosu. He hasn't stayed healthy, and even when he's been out there, the production hasn't been there like it used to be. A few years ago, he led this team in sacks, but he's looked like a shade of his former self. And you got some young options. Got Boye Mafe, got Derek Hall. I think you're going to draft some more pass rushers too. I think you got to say bye to Uchenna Nwosu. I think he is gone as far as that goes. Should the Seahawks cut Uchenna Nwosu? Weigh in, let us know. Type C for cut, K for keep. Let us know in that comment section below if they should cut Nwosu or not. All right, we got time for a couple more questions here. Let's get to our next question in the mailbag. And this one, here it goes, folks, is from Vanessa. Do you think Matthew Golden and JSN would be a deadly duo? I like Matthew Golden. I do. I think Matthew Golden's a terrific talent from the University of Texas. JSN, he and together, I think it'd be very good. You're going to have to find a receiver in this draft to replace Tyler Lockett. But I am on the anti-trading DK Metcalf trade. If you're looking for Matthew Golden to replace DK Metcalf, they ain't going to work. He's not the same receiver. It's not even the same body build and all that. He does different things. Golden with JSN, Golden is your number 3 receiver. I'm all ears to that, but not at the cost of losing DK. But I do like Matthew Golden as a possibility. Raw Hector writes in, what do you think about the possibility of a co-OC with the Lions offensive line coach? This is the NFL. No one needs to do the co-OC thing. That's a college thing. I don't even like it in college, all right? You guys know. I have been a lifelong Oklahoma Sooners fan. I saw what happened when they've tried to have co-OCs this past year. You had Seth Luttrell with Joe John Finley, and one guy was calling plays, and then they fired one OC, and then they promoted Joe John Finley. It doesn't even work in college. Why would that work in the NFL? I like the idea of Fraley coming in, but you only need one OC. You don't need a co-OC. I don't think that makes sense. But Roy Hector, thanks for the question. Last one. Ben writes in, if we do trade DK, we better get a first-round pick in 3 round O-line players. I hate to break it to you, but no way DK's coming for a first-round pick. Wide receiver market has dwindled a lot from what it was even a few years ago. If you traded DK a few years ago, you could have gotten a first-round pick. That time is come and gone. You're going to get maybe a second and a fifth. Best case scenario, yeah, you're not getting a first-round pick. You do need more linemen. We know that. But you're not going to get what you hope for with that first-round pick. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. All right. There we go, folks. We made it. We got through today's show. Alper, put yourself back on screen before we wrap up here.
Something out here, so I'm not having you floating on
yes.
the right. Just one more last time. We'll bring up the super chat menu.
Seahawks fan says, I asked 2 questions but wasn't on. Seahawks fan, the only way we can guarantee you on the mailbag is if you super chat. It's the only way we can guarantee it. We don't necessarily have time to get to everybody. We could potentially do one more. If we need to go to the kitchen, get more jello shots, we can, beer bong, whatever it may be. But Alper, your first Seahawks Today live show, how would you describe your experience? Did you have fun? Did you have a good time?
Fun. I was not expecting to take 4 of these jello shots. You got me a little going, but I'm enjoying myself. It seems like this chat is a family here at Seahawks Today.
It's all love. I know Boskin, who's in the chat, he called me Moron Jones the other day. That wasn't very nice.
Jones.
Boskin, I thought we had something better than that. We disagree on the tight end position. Why do you have to call me a name? Well, I've never called you a moron, Boskin. I thought it was all love. He called me Moron Jones the other day. I had to call him out on that. But for the most part, yeah, everybody, we're all family here. Steve J says, great show, fellas.
Shout out to you, Steve.
Steve, much appreciated. Chat one more time before we sign off. Show Alper one more last bit of love here. Spam Alper in the chat.
There we go.
You're gonna see plenty more of this guy in the future.
Oh yeah.
And just because he's here, we'll still see Big Tax, we'll still see Smitty. Boskin, I know I didn't call you a moron. You called me a moron. That's what I said. I would never call you a moron. I'm nicer than you, apparently, Boskin. But yes, everybody show Alper some love. Steve says, good job, Alpers. Have you been called Alpers? I see a couple of people calling you Alpers.
I have never been called Alpers. Usually people add a T, and I'm like, where do you get the T from? No, it's just Alper. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, @TheRealAlper.
Alpers, let's see, Boskin says.
There we go.
Let's see here. Boskin says, you called a moron because I'm a hell no on the tight end. I didn't call you a moron, Boskin. You called me a moron. You called me Moron Jones. I didn't call you a moron directly. Anyways, all right. Dan the Man Miller wants a beer bong before we go. Right, apparently, yes, the Boskin. The Boskin is. I'm no moron. All right. Dan the Man Miller says, how do we create cap space? Well, we just did a cut candidate segment a moment ago, and I showed you about 77 million ways to create cap space. And in case you missed it, I'll just say this real quick, and then we'll go. And I don't want to dirty up the beer bong. I'd like to put this away cleanly, so I will just chug this Coors. I'll do it that way. Here's how you do it. Here's the short answer, Dan. You cut Tyler Lockett, cut Dre'Mont Jones, cut Uchenna Nwosu, cut Noah Fant, cut Rayshon Jenkins, cut Roy Robertson-Harris, cut George Fant, cut Jason Myers, and then you can save $77 million.
Yeah, go like this. $77 million.
$77 million. But I wouldn't cut George Fant or Jason Myers, but you get the idea. All right. Here we go, folks. Dan, cheers to you. Everybody raise your glass. I'll chug this and we'll sign off.
It's cold as the Rockies.
As cold as the Rockies. Mountains are blue. Cheers to you, Dan. There we go. All right. We got to go. Alper, a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
Folks, have a great rest of your night. Continuing coverage on the channel all week long. Back here. We'll do it again on Monday. For Brett Alper, I'm Tyler Jones. Saying so long. Have a great night, everybody.